Hey everyone, great work subtracting. We've been so proud of how hard you've been working. To practice subtraction after we've been doing so much addition is tricky, so your teachers are really proud of you. Today we're going to work on a strategy that you'll probably end up using pretty often moving forward. This says, I can count backwards to subtract. So it's kind of similar to when we were counting on with addition, using our brain and using our fingers, but now instead of counting forwards, we're going to be counting backwards. If you want to follow along with me while I do some of the problems, if you want to write them with me, you can get a blank piece of paper or put a blank piece of paper inside of the plastic sleeve to almost make a blank whiteboard, or you can just count along with me using your fingers and using your words. After we're all done, you have some more problems if you want to practice inside of your workbook on page 13, and you might notice that we don't have any objects to count or any space to draw dots or any number lines, because our goal today is to use our fingers to help us count backwards to find the answer to a subtraction problem. So let's go ahead and get started. How about we start with 5 minus 2? Okay, now, some of you may already know the answer to that question, which is totally fine. That means you're starting to memorize your subtraction facts, which is great. So families, if these numbers end up being a little bit too low, what you could do is give more problems that are higher, like in the teens or in the 20s, and just make sure this number is less than 10 because we only have 10 fingers that we can use to count backwards. Okay, so the counting backwards strategy. The first number is the number that we start on, and we put that number inside of our brain. I like to touch my brain when I'm saying that number. The next number is how many times we count backwards, and that's going to be 2. So while we're counting backwards, we're going to make sure we stop after we put up 2 fingers. Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3. So I counted backwards 2 times. I have 2 fingers up. And the last number I said was 3. That tells me that 5 minus 2 equals 3. Let's do it again, just so you can see again. 5, 4, 3. The last number I said when I was counting backwards was 3. Sometimes when we're doing counting backwards as a strategy, our brains are so used to counting forwards that it takes more practice to start going backwards instead of forwards. Let's practice another one. How about 10 minus 4. Okay, so remember the number 10 we put in our brain, that's the number we start on. And then we take away 4, which means we're going to count backwards on our fingers 4 times. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So I have 4 on my fingers. I counted backwards 4 times. And the last number I said was 6. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. That tells me that 10 minus 4 equals 6. Let's do a couple more together. How about 8 minus 5? Okay, so the 8 is the number that we're starting with. We're putting that number in our brain, and we're counting backwards 5 times. That means I'm going to have all 5 fingers up by the time I'm done counting backwards. Here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. The last number I said was 3. That tells me that 8 minus 5 equals 3. Let's try one together now where we're going to need 2 hands to count backwards. Let's do 9 minus 7. This can be a little bit tricky to have to use 2 hands. One thing that could be helpful is to put 7 fingers up at the start and then just bounce your fingers up and down as you're counting backwards. That way you don't have to keep track of how many fingers you put up. You might want to try that, or you don't have to. It's totally up to you. We're going to start by putting 9 in our brain, and then we'll count backwards 7 times. Here we go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. The last number I said was 2. That tells me that 9 minus 7 equals 2. Let's count backwards to do 9 minus 7 one more time. You can practice along with me. So you can put up 7 fingers while you're counting backwards, or start with those 7 fingers up, whatever you want to do, okay? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 9 minus 7 equals 2. If this is a little bit tricky, totally feel free to keep drawing dots, using objects. Whatever strategy is the most independent right now is one to keep practicing. And then it's good to just practice the other strategies here and there to try to become more independent at those two. Have so much fun. If this is tricky or you need any other help or suggestions, please get a hold of Mrs. James and I, and we are more than happy to help you. Have fun subtracting.